I need to tell you something that has been keeping me up at night. I have been watching the supply chain for 15 months now, and what I am seeing terrified me enough that I completely restructured my entire pantry 3 weeks ago. Major distributors are quietly warning retailers about 11 specific items that are about to become seriously scarce. Nobody is talking about this. The mainstream media is not covering it. Your neighbor has no idea. But the people who move products from manufacturers to stores, they know, and they are preparing. Hit that subscribe button because I am going to keep sharing what the industry insiders are actually seeing. Look, grocery prices are rising faster than most people can keep up with. I've done the math for you. I put together a free emergency pantry blueprint that lists the exact 15 items you can get at Aldi or Walmart today to feed your family for 2 weeks. It's 28,000 calories for less than the cost of a takeout pizza. You can grab that shopping list for free at the link in the description, so you can stop worrying and start prepping. Let me tell you what happened last Tuesday that made everything click. I was having coffee with a guy who manages logistics for one of the largest food distributors in the Southeast. 23 years in the business. This man has seen every supply disruption you can imagine. And he told me something that made my blood run cold. He said the allocation notices he is receiving right now are worse than what he saw in early 2020. Worse. We are not talking about temporary delays. We are talking about fundamental production problems that are not getting fixed anytime soon. He pulled out his phone and showed me the internal communications. Item after item flagged with red warnings. Reduced production capacity, raw material shortages, transportation issues. And then he said something I will never forget. He looked me dead in the eye and said, if you have not started adjusting your household stock by now, you are already behind. So here's what I did. I went home that night and I started making calls. I reached out to every contact I have in food production, distribution, and retail management. And what they told me lines up perfectly. These 11 items are the ones you need to focus on right now, not next month. Right now. Item number 1 is canned tomatoes. All varieties. Diced, crushed, whole, sauce, paste, all of it. California grows about 95% of the processing tomatoes in the United States. And California is experiencing the worst water allocation crisis in recorded history. The water restrictions this year are permanent structural changes to how much water agricultural regions can access. I spoke with a farmer in the Central Valley 2 weeks ago. This year, his water allocation was cut by 60%. You cannot grow the same amount of tomatoes with 60% less water. So he reduced his planting by half. Now multiply that across thousands of farms. Production is down massively. Here is what a procurement manager for a major grocery chain told me. Their tomato product orders for the next quarter are being filled at about 67%. That means for every 100 cans they order, they are getting 67. And it is getting worse each month. The tariffs on imported tomatoes from Mexico are still in effect, so the backup supply that would normally compensate for California's shortages is economically unviable for most retailers. I personally went to 4 different stores last weekend. 3 had noticeably thinner tomato sections. Some varieties were completely out. Canned tomatoes are the backbone of home cooking. Chili, soups, stews, pasta dishes, pizza sauce. If you cook at home, you use tomato products. I now keep a minimum of 100 cans at all times. Mix of diced, crushed, sauce, and paste. It cost me about $80, but I am rotating through it constantly. 6 months ago, a can was 99 cents. Last week, the same brand was $1.49. That is a 50% increase. My strategy is simple. Every time I go shopping, I buy 10 cans. Spread it across different stores. Be reasonable, but be consistent. Item number 2 is butter, real dairy butter. The problem is not where you think it is. Everyone assumes if there is a butter shortage, it must be a milk problem. Wrong. There is plenty of milk. The issue is processing capacity and cost structure. Manufacturers can make more money selling cream for specialty cheeses, ice cream, and coffee products than turning it into butter. So when costs go up, butter is one of the first products where manufacturers pull back. Labor shortages at processing plants have reduced throughput. A regional sales rep told me his company has cut butter production by 15% this year while increasing higher margin products. This is industry-wide. Butter is one of those products that people do not think to stock up on because it is dairy. But here is the secret. Butter freezes beautifully. You can freeze butter for up to a year with zero quality loss. I currently have 40 pounds in my freezer. Buy butter when it is on sale. Leave it in the original wrapper. Put the wrap sticks into a freezer quality zip top bag. Squeeze out the air. When you need butter, pull out a stick the night before. My family cannot tell the difference. Butter prices fluctuate wildly. Last winter, butter hit $7 a pound, but I was using butter I bought in summer for $3.50. Item number 3 is pasta. All shapes, all brands. The reasons are more complex than you would think. It is a perfect storm. First, durum wheat. That is the specific type used to make quality pasta. The majority comes from North Dakota and Montana. Last year, severe drought. Yields were down significantly. The wheat that did grow had lower protein content. Lower protein means lower quality pasta. So manufacturers need more wheat to produce the same quality. Add in transportation costs, shipping costs have exploded. A trucking company owner said his fuel costs are up 42%. Then there is packaging. Cardboard and adhesive shortages have caused delays. Some manufacturers have had to slow production lines because they do not have enough boxes. Here is my approach. I keep 100 pounds of pasta in various shapes. Long pasta like spaghetti and fettuccine, short pasta like penne, rigatoni, and shells, small pasta like orzo and ditalini. Different shapes work better for different meals and sauces. It keeps meals interesting when eating from your stockpile. Storage is simple. Keep pasta in its original packaging if rotating regularly. For long-term, transfer to airtight containers or food-grade buckets. Pasta lasts years when kept dry. The price increase is real. 18 months ago, a pound of name brand pasta was about $1.29. Now it is consistently over $2. Some stores are pushing $2.50. That is nearly double. So every time you buy pasta at today's prices, you are saving against tomorrow's even higher prices. Buy extra every trip, 10 boxes, spread across brands and shapes. Item number 4 is cooking oils. Vegetable oil, canola oil, olive oil, all of it. This situation is legitimately global. Let me break down what is happening. Sunflower oil, which is a huge component of vegetable oil, a massive percentage of global production comes from Ukraine and Russia. The war has devastated production and export. That supply is essentially gone from global markets. So manufacturers shifted to other oils. Soybean oil, canola oil, palm oil. But here is the problem. Demand for those oils was already high. Now you are asking them to also replace millions of gallons of sunflower oil. The system cannot handle it. Palm oil is facing production issues in Indonesia and Malaysia due to labor shortages and weather. Soybean oil production in Argentina was hit hard by drought. Add in that these oils are also used for biofuel production. As fuel prices go up, it becomes more profitable to turn vegetable oils into biodiesel. A buyer for a regional grocery chain told me cooking oil is one of the most difficult categories to keep in stock right now. They are getting allocated. Prices are insane. I have seen regular vegetable oil go from $3 for a big bottle to over $8. Olive oil is worse. A decent bottle that was $12 is now pushing $25. Here is what I did immediately. I bought 30 gallons of various cooking oils, 10 gallons vegetable oil, 10 canola, 5 olive oil, 5 coconut oil. That sounds like a lot, but think about how much oil you actually use. Cooking, baking, frying, salad dressings. Oil is essential. Storage is important. Keep it in a cool, dark place. Heat and light cause oil to go rancid faster. Vegetable and canola oil easily last a year, often 2. Olive oil lasts about 18 months. I rotate through my stock constantly. When I open a new bottle, I buy a replacement. Item number 5 is canned fish. Tuna, salmon, sardines, mackerel, all of it. The problems are environmental and logistical. Global fish stocks are under serious pressure. Overfishing, climate change affecting ocean temperatures, changing migration patterns. Fish populations are not what they used to be. Tuna is increasingly regulated. Fishing quotas are being reduced to prevent stock collapse. Less tuna caught means less tuna canned. Salmon is even more complicated. Wild salmon runs have been declining for years. Most canned salmon now comes from farmed sources, but salmon farming has its own issues. Disease outbreaks, environmental regulations, feed costs, all of this reduces production or increases costs. Then there is labor. Seafood processing is extremely labor intensive. Many processing facilities are in remote locations and rely heavily on seasonal workers. A manager at a processing plant told me they are running at about 70% of normal capacity because they cannot find enough workers. I went to 3 stores last week specifically to check canned fish stock. All 3 had noticeably reduced selection. Some varieties were completely out. Prices have gone insane. Canned tuna that was $1 a can is now $2.50 or more. Wild caught salmon is pushing $6 a can. Here's why you need this in your stockpile. Canned fish is one of the most calorie dense and protein dense shelf stable foods available. A single can of tuna has about 25 grams of protein. Salmon has omega-3 fatty acids that are critical for health, and it requires zero preparation. Open the can and eat. In a crisis situation where cooking might be difficult or impossible, canned fish is gold. I currently keep 120 cans of various fish, mostly tuna, but also salmon, sardines, and mackerel. It cost me about $240, but that is 120 ready-to-eat high-protein meals. Storage is simple. Keep cans in a cool, dry place. Canned fish easily lasts 3 to 5 years. Item number 6 is peanut butter. This surprised me because peanut butter seems so basic and American. How could there be a shortage? Well, let me tell you what is happening. Peanut production in the U.S. is concentrated in a handful of states. Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and Texas grow the vast majority. These regions have been hit with increasingly unpredictable weather. Last year, excessive rain during harvest season in Georgia damaged a significant portion of the crop. Peanuts that sit in wet fields develop aflatoxin, a toxic mold. Those peanuts cannot be used for food production. They have to be destroyed. So immediately, you have reduced supply. But here is what makes this worse. Peanuts are also used for peanut oil, which is in high demand. When peanut oil prices are high, more peanuts get diverted to oil production instead of being made into peanut butter. Labor costs at processing plants have increased dramatically. A store manager told me peanut butter is on allocation from several major brands. They are not getting their full orders. Here is why peanut butter is critical. It is calorie dense. 2 tablespoons have about 200 calories and 8 grams of protein. It requires no refrigeration even after opening. It lasts a long time. Unopened jars easily last a year or more, often 2 years. And it is incredibly versatile. You can eat it straight, spread it on bread, mix it into oatmeal, use it in sauces, or eat it by the spoonful for quick energy. During a power outage last year, peanut butter became our go-to food. No cooking required, high energy, familiar taste. My kids actually looked forward to meals because peanut butter made everything better. I keep 40 pounds of peanut butter in my stockpile. Mix of creamy and crunchy. That is about 26 large jars. Cost me around $130. Buy extra jars every shopping trip. Check the dates and rotate stock. Item number 7 is rice. I know rice is on every prepper list ever made, but hear me out because the situation right now is different. This is not about panic buying. This is about production. India, the world's largest exporter of rice, banned exports of several rice varieties last year to protect domestic food security. That removed millions of tons from global markets instantly. Other countries tried to fill the gap, Thailand, Vietnam, Pakistan, but they cannot produce enough to replace India's exports. Now you might be thinking the US grows plenty of rice. We do. But American rice production is also under pressure. Water shortages in California and Arkansas, 2 major rice-growing states, increased costs for fertilizer and fuel. A rice farmer in Arkansas said his costs are up 38% compared to 3 years ago, but the price he gets paid has not increased proportionally. A 20-pound bag of rice that was $15 a year ago is now over $2 in many stores. Some premium varieties have doubled in price. Here is my rice strategy. I keep 300 pounds of rice in various types. White rice for long-term storage because it lasts decades. Brown rice for better nutrition, though it does not last as long. Jasmine and basmati for variety because eating the same thing every day destroys morale. Storage is critical with rice. For long term, use food grade buckets with gamma sealed lids. Add oxygen absorbers before sealing. This removes oxygen and prevents bugs. Stored this way, white rice lasts 30 years or more. Rotate your stock. Buy rice consistently. Every shopping trip, add a bag or two. Prices are not going down. Item number 8 is powdered milk. This ties into the butter situation because both are dairy products facing similar pressures. Powdered milk production requires significant processing capacity and energy. As energy costs have increased, production costs have gone up dramatically. Some manufacturers have reduced production because margins are too thin. But here's the bigger issue. There is increasing global demand for powdered milk, particularly from Asia and Africa. This is pulling supply away from the US domestic market. A lot of people do not keep powdered milk because they think it tastes bad. And yeah, if you are drinking it straight, reconstituted powdered milk does not taste quite like fresh milk. But here's the thing. In cooking and baking, you absolutely cannot tell the difference. And in a situation where fresh milk is unavailable, powdered milk is a lifesaver. Here is how I store powdered milk. Do not leave it in the cardboard box. Cardboard absorbs moisture and air gets in. Your powdered milk will clump and go bad within months. Transfer it immediately to Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers or use food-grade buckets with tight lids. Stored properly, powdered milk lasts 15 to 20 years. Yes, decades. I keep 50 pounds in my stockpile. It cost about $150. Here is a pro tip. Mix half reconstituted powdered milk with half fresh milk for drinking. Your family gradually gets used to the taste. Then when you need to use only powdered milk, the adjustment is not as jarring. Use powdered milk in all your baking and cooking now. Pancakes, muffins, cakes, creamy soups. It works perfectly. Item number 9 is canned beans. All varieties, black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, chickpeas, all of it. Bean production requires significant water, and drought conditions in key growing regions have reduced yields. North Dakota, which grows a huge percentage of U.S. beans, had serious drought conditions during the last growing season. Lower yields mean less supply hitting the market. But here is the processing bottleneck. Canning capacity is limited. There are only so many canning facilities, and they are running at maximum capacity, trying to keep up with demand across all product categories. When one product line has issues, it affects everything because they are all competing for the same canning lines. Then there is the aluminum can shortage. This affects all canned goods, including beans. Labor is another huge factor. Bean processing is labor intensive. A procurement specialist told me their orders for canned beans are being filled at about 70%. That means for every 10 cases they order, they are getting 7. Here is why canned beans are essential. They are shelf-stable protein that requires minimal preparation. Open the can, heat them up, and you have a complete meal. They are incredibly versatile. You can make chili, soups, salads, burritos, rice and beans. A can of black beans that was 80 to 9 cents 2 years ago is now $1.69 in my local stores. Some organic varieties are pushing $3 a can. I currently keep 200 cans of various beans. Black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, white beans. It cost me about $280. But that is 200 protein-packed meals. Storage is simple. Keep cans in a cool, dry place. Canned beans easily last 3 to 5 years. My strategy is to buy 10 cans every shopping trip. Item number 10 is oats, both rolled oats and instant oats. Oat production is concentrated in specific regions. Canada grows a massive percentage of the world's oats. The US also grows oats primarily in the upper Midwest. Both regions have experienced weather issues that affected yields. Drought in some areas, excessive rain in others. Either one damages crops. Oats require very particular drying and processing. If the moisture content is not right, they spoil quickly. Processing facilities have struggled with equipment issues and labor shortages, which has reduced their capacity to turn harvested oats into the rolled oats or instant oats you buy at the store. Add in the increased demand for oats. Oat milk has become incredibly popular in the last few years. This has pulled a significant portion of oat production away from traditional food products. I have noticed at stores that the oat sections are less stocked than they used to be. Some stores are down to just a couple of brands. Prices have increased noticeably. A large container of rolled oats that was $4 is now $6.50 or more. Here is why oats are critical. They are incredibly versatile. Oatmeal for breakfast, obviously, but also granola, baking, oat flour if you grind them, thickening for soups. Nutritionally, oats are fantastic. High fiber, decent protein, and they keep you full for hours. In a survival situation, that sustained energy is crucial. Oats last a long time when stored properly. For long-term storage, put them in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers or in food-grade buckets. Stored that way, they last 10 years or more. I keep 100 pounds of oats, mix of rolled oats and instant oats. Costs me about $60, but that is hundreds of meals. Item number 11 is coffee. I know some of you are thinking coffee is not essential, but let me tell you, in a high-stress situation, the psychological value of coffee is absolutely massive. Beyond that, coffee is facing some of the most serious production challenges of anything on this list. Coffee is grown in a very specific climate band called the coffee belt, equatorial regions with the right temperature, rainfall, and altitude. And climate change is hammering these regions. Brazil, which produces about 1/3 of the world's coffee, had devastating frosts last year that destroyed huge portions of the crop. Frost in coffee-growing regions is rare, but it is happening more frequently. Vietnam, the second largest producer, has had drought issues affecting yields. Colombia has dealt with excessive rain and labor strikes. All of this adds up to reduced global coffee production at a time when demand continues to increase. Coffee is one of the most traded commodities in the world. Price fluctuations happen fast and they are dramatic. In the last 18 months, wholesale coffee prices have increased over 70%. That is not a typo. I have been tracking coffee prices at my local stores. A standard 12-ounce bag that was $8 a year ago is now $11. Some premium brands are pushing $15. Here is my coffee strategy, and I am deadly serious about this. I currently have 60 pounds of coffee in my stockpile. Whole beans and ground, mix of regular and decaf, dark, medium, and light roasts. It cost me about $400 to build that stock, but at the rate prices are increasing, that coffee will be worth significantly more in 6 months. Beyond the financial aspect, think about the morale factor. In a crisis, starting your day with a normal cup of coffee provides psychological stability. It is a small piece of normalcy when everything else is chaos. Storage is important. Keep whole beans in airtight containers in a cool, dark place. For long-term storage, vacuum seal coffee or use mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. So there you have it, the 11 items that are facing the most serious supply chain pressure right now. Canned tomatoes, butter, pasta, cooking oils, canned fish, peanut butter, rice, powdered milk, canned beans, oats, and coffee. These are not random picks. These are the products that industry insiders are actually worried about based on production data, allocation notices, and supply chain reports that most people never see. Now, here is what you need to understand. I am not telling you to panic. I am telling you to prepare intelligently. There is a massive difference. Panic buying clears shelves and creates artificial shortages that hurt everyone. Intelligent preparation means buying extra consistently over time, rotating your stock, and building a buffer that protects your family without harming your community. Here is my challenge to you. Pick 3 items from this list. Just 3. Start there. This week when you go shopping, buy extra of those 3 items. Next week, add 2 more items to your rotation. Within a month, you will have started building real food security for your family. And here is the beautiful part. Even if nothing bad ever happens, even if supply chains magically fix themselves tomorrow, you have not lost anything. You are buying food you are going to eat anyway. You are just buying it now at today's prices instead of later at higher prices. That is not prepping. That is just smart financial planning. But let me be brutally honest with you. The people who are in positions to know what is really happening in the supply chain, they are not waiting. They are acting now. The farmer I talked to, he has 6 months of food stored. The logistics manager, he is building a year's supply. The grocery store procurement specialist, She told me her pantry looks like a small warehouse. These are not conspiracy theorists. These are professionals who understand the system and they see what is coming. So the question is not whether you should prepare. The question is whether you are going to act on the information you now have or whether you are going to wait and hope everything works out. And if you found this video helpful, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because I am going to keep bringing you information that the mainstream sources are not covering. Information that could make the difference between your family being comfortable or struggling when things get tight. Drop a comment below and let me know which items you are going to start stocking first. And if you have not grabbed that free emergency pantry blueprint yet, the link is in the description. 15 items, 2 weeks of food, less than the cost of takeout. Get it now. Prepare smart. Protect your family, and I will see you in the next one.